Wednesday night, we're all in sight. 9 o'clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough Heshy takes flight. Woo! Laughs and wisdom side by side. Heshy show won't be denied. Tune in live and ride the tide. Feel the rush and feel the pride. It's just enough Heshy. Wanna vote for Heshy? It's just enough Heshy. Join the crowd, it's messy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Just Enough Heshy show. Yes, my dear friends, my good friend, co-host Tom had all his teeth ripped out, and he's not on the show this week. And I told somebody about it, and they said to me, Tom, well, now he can't interrupt you. Tom, you better call into the show. I don't care how many teeth you're missing. You hear me, Tom? Welcome to my show, everybody. We have a lot to talk about. Tom is going to be calling in. He better call in or he's in big trouble. I don't care how many teeth he's missing. But I want to talk about what Tom went through also with the dentist. And I have a local dentist here I want to complain about. And I'm going to argue with Tom on who I'm predicting now is going to be the winner of the election. For sure, we've been taking bets in my office. And I'm telling you now, I don't believe Mamdani is going to win. I don't care what Tom says, and I don't care what all of you say, and I want to welcome all of you to the show, and all my listeners, the live listeners soon, and my Instagram fans, and my YouTube and Facebook fans. But I'm just telling you now, we do have to be nervous. We do have to be worried, not because that Mamdani will win, but some of his ideas are being taken serious. You know, there's a big argument in New York City with Hochul now, and if Mamdani gets in, that they're going to remove misdemeanors for shoplifting. That means if you shoplift up to $750, and I want Tom to hear this, you don't get arrested. So you can go into a store and rob, and they can't really do nothing to you. Maybe they can arrest you or come after you. By the way, guys, you can call into the show 646-974-1580. We're going to talk about some other stuff. We're going to talk about our great President Trump. They all tell me he's dying, he's sick. I mean, you should see these conspiracy theories. America. I mean, I'm actually watching how the Democrats are saying how America is falling apart, how America is failing. You're not worried about New York City, the robberies, the shootings, the killings, the murders. When President Trump, he puts the military, not really, the National Guard in D.C., and no more murders. Crime is down. We ask for it in New York. Our Mamdani is fighting for us to get it, but our commissioner says no, crime is down. And I'm telling you, crime is not down. We see it every single day. We see the police are fighting with themselves. We see the police are committing crimes. You know, they're hit and runs and they cover it up. We have officers that we beg to stay, and then our top officers are jealous of them and they reroute them. You know, I'm friends with one of the police officers, Richie Taylor. And all of a sudden now he's so jealous that other people are moving up in the ranks that he's pushing people around. There's all politics here. There's not supposed to be politics. We're supposed to make New York City better. You're supposed to be protecting us. Trains. I was on a train this week. I know what you're going to say, Tom. Heshy, you were really on a train? Yeah, Tom. It was terrible. Terrible. I want to tell you about a bunch of stuff that I went through this week and a bunch of running around and why we haven't had the live show in a couple of weeks. But I know Labor Day is coming, so we're going to have a lot of, we're going to have a big holiday. You're going to have your barbecues, and I'm going to make a barbecue, and I'm going to tell everybody if they want to come, they can come to my barbecue. I really wanted to have it upstate, but, you know, contractors, who is a friend of mine, is My house is never going to be ready. I'm going to be here forever. Me and Linda are not going anywhere. Maybe Linda said she's going to go visit to the park. I threw the ball at them, and they learned to play baseball. Binyamin Hillel, my beautiful grandson, my other granddaughter Ahuva, Yeshua, my oldest grandson, and of course my newest granddaughter Yael. I just want you to know I haven't seen my kids in a while from Yaakov and his wife. So Yaakov's Rayleigh's brother got married, so I went to the wedding. By the way, I went to 6 weddings this week, 3 in one day. I went to a christening, a bris, somebody that lost his parents I went to visit, and 2 engagement parties, and my week is still not over, and you guys say I do nothing. But those 3 weddings in one day. I went to Muncie and Met Stadium, and then back. I had I had my entree in by the Met Stadium. I had the City Field, whatever it is. That not Met Stadium. It was Jersey Giants. I don't know what. Who cares?
Well, Jersey's MetLife Stadium.
MetLife Stadium, and then I went to Muncie for for the soup and the fish, and then I came back to Brooklyn for the main dish and dessert. And they all loved it, and people danced with me and took pictures of me.
Well, how about last week you went to Canada? Didn't you?
Right,
go to Canada
that's why we didn't have the show. I was called to Canada on a special mission, and me and a couple of friends, we drove there. But my nephew, who made me crazy all the way, and they promised to buy me corned beef sandwiches. I do want to say hello to Infinite Justice and hey Benny. Beryl, you know, Beryl, that you are a drunk and you want that good liquor, and I can't give it to you because I'm broke. Beryl, I'm joking. You're not a drunk. You're delicious. And what I want to tell you is we drove to Canada. We went to see the Holy Rabbi, and then we went to pray at the other Holy Rabbi's grave. And 2 hours later, we jumped in the car and we drove back another 7 hours so I can be back Monday morning for inspections and taking care of my clients and fighting for the community. I'm going to give you my quote. Are you ready for my quote?
I'm ready.
Nothing can be changed without losing. Even heaven demands death. You got that? You've got to give up something.
I got it.
So don't have an ego. Don't be too comfortable with your life. We demand so much more from ourselves. We know we have to lose a little bit, but respect, like this dentist, my friend, this guy Tuvia went to this dentist on Ocean Parkway. His name is Dr. Johnson. I forgot. I'm going to check out his name. I wrote it down over here somewhere. But no, because I called him today and I said to him, listen, Doc, you have a problem with a person. Apologize. His name is Dr. Johnson, 1777 Ocean Parkway. And what he did was
right by Clinton Road. Okay.
Right. So what happened was this guy, and Dr. Johnson was saying, he didn't tell us his medical history. He didn't tell us his problems. 1 minute. They gave him anesthesia. Then they gave him another drug. This is a guy who came first time. You can't be drugging the guy up and not see after effects. So they gave him so much drugs, he flipped out a little bit. The doctor, he said to me, doctor didn't want to even talk to me. He said he threw over the table, and then he says, I'm putting words in his mouth. According to the kid we made an incident report that he beat up the guy, he held him down, he locked him up in a room. You can't do that. You should have called emergency technicians right away. And then the Hatzola came and kept him in the car for an hour. And I said to the doc, listen, you made a mistake, apologize. He was so nasty. There are certain dentists that are great, and there are certain dentists that think they own the world. Well, Dr. Johnson, you better be ready, because I think you're going to get a lawsuit, and my friend wants to have him arrested after what he did to him. And the mother was there and witnesses. I'm telling him, make it go away. But he has so many bad reviews online anyways. Stay away from this Dr. Johnson. He's no good. I'm telling you, I'm giving you a personal opinion that I don't like him. And the story that I was told was one-sided. And I asked the doctor, I called him. He even called me back, and I asked him for his opinion, for his side of the story. He wouldn't tell me, but I know for a fact that he gave too much drugs. At least he says, the guy didn't tell us his medical history. He's a young guy. He doesn't have to tell you medical history. He has no history. Anyways, I want to continue with my quotes. The two most important days in our lives is the day we are born and the day we find out why we are born. If you do good deeds, they're not less valiant because they are unpraised. And not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it's faced. And the truth is the truth even if nobody believes it. And a lie is a lie if everyone believes it. And let me just tell you, that pertains to Mr. Mamdani, and that pertains to you, Mr. Dentist, Dr. Johnson. You can lie and tell us every stories, but there's a witness there. His mother was in the room. You gave him too much drugs, or you didn't give him too much drugs. Something happened. You should have called an ambulance right away. You shouldn't have held him down or locked him in a room for a half hour. Nothing of that nature. And that's what I'm getting one side. I asked the doctor for his other side. And I warned you before you went to your dentist today, Tom. Am I correct? Well,
you did, but I didn't have that experience, thankfully. I didn't have that experience. I
want to tell you a story. I was listening to a story about a father whose kid had a very bad temper. Very bad temper. And every time the kid got angry, he screamed and hollered. So the father said to him, listen, here's a bag of nails. And I heard this on the internet. And he said to him, every time you get angry, take a nail and bang it in until you stop getting angry. And the first time the kid got angry and lost his temper, he banged in like 10 nails. Felt better. The next day he banged in 3 more nails. The next day he banged in 2 nails. The next day he banged in 1 nail until he banged in like about 37 nails. And then he went over to his father. Look, Pop, for the last 5 days I didn't bang in nails. I'm learning what it is to have a temper, and I'm learning to calm down. See, the nails did help. The father said to him, now I want you to pull out the nails every single time that somebody upsets you. And every day he pulled out the nails, 1 nail at a time. When all the nails were out, he said to the father, look, I took out all the nails from the fence. The father said, look at all the holes in the nails you left. He said, yeah. He says, now look at, once you cause damage, once you lose your temper and cause a trouble, you make that damage. You're right. You stopped. And you're right. You apologized. But look, the holes will always stay. You guys have to learn to control yourself. That's it. You have to learn to be better. Taking Mamdani, I believe Mamdani has no chance to win. I believe it. I know what you're saying, Tom. I know you can laugh, but you know, what's his name again? Sliwa raised 440, what was it? 440,000 donations. He raised over
407,000, 4,400 donations, but
how much money?
Mamdani raised $1 million. And how about all those scavengers he had going around?
Right, but Mamdani's million that he raised, most of it, 80% was from out of the state, so he doesn't get matching funds on that. And Sliwa, I think, was like $490,000, and he gets 8 times matching funds on that. Right?
Well, we're going to find out, but I don't know what he'll get times how many are in district, in city, but he's going to get a lot of it qualified.
Okay, so my thing is that Sliwa is now putting up a campaign. He is all over the place. I think people, in my office today we were talking, and somebody says, "Well, you know why Mamdani's right? Because the rents are too high." I explained to the lady, I said to her, I was talking to one of my workers, I said, "Do you pay the water bill in your building?" She says, "No, water's free." I said, "No, water is not free." I said to her, "Do you pay the super to clean up your hallways and buildings?" "No, that's part of the rent." I said, "That's correct." I said, "What about the maintenance when he has to fix your apartment?" I said, "What about the taxes on the property that we have to pay that keeps going up by the city every year? Did you even think about that? What about the garbage tickets? What about all that other stuff that you didn't even know about, the electric in the hallways?" "Oh, I don't use the hallway electricity." I said, "Sure you do. When you come into the building, it's dark." So I said, "1 minute, when they raise our prices, we shouldn't raise your rents? You should live for free?" So of course, who's going to maintain your building? Who's going to take care of your building? And they tried this. The city did take over a bunch of buildings in the 70s and 80s. And we
talked about this in prior shows.
Right. And they couldn't handle it, and they gave it back to us. So, of course, the rents have to go high. And the cheap rents that are in the New York City Housing Authority, Tom, go into the building. I'll take you into, Tom. You'll be shaking in your pants by the time you come out.
I've been in those buildings. I know what you're talking about.
It's a jungle.
I'm with you.
It's a jungle.
Prior shows.
Yeah, it's a jungle going in and coming out. They don't know how to be landlords. That's the difference between a normal landlord who maintains the building, who gets violations, who's constantly under patrol. Anyways, I want to give you a joke, and you better laugh at this one. I think this is very funny. I mean, I think this is one of the
I'm going to try to laugh as much as I can, even with stitch in my mouth. Go ahead.
Good. Here we go. I hope Rachel laughs at it, and I also hope, most importantly, Beryl, because I'm going to see Beryl on the Sabbath, he never laughs at my jokes. He always makes fun of me. Anyways, here's my joke. When my boys were little, Avram was like 7 and Moshe was 5. So they used to jump on their bed. They thought it was like a trampoline. Okay. And
sounds like wrestling there.
Right, exactly. And I came home one night very late, and Linda was standing right there, very angry, very angry. And Linda said to me, "Go check out your 5-year-old son's bed." She was in one of her moods, so I walked into the room, and when I entered Moshe's room, I saw that his bed collapsed. The mattress was sitting on the floor. And I said, "Moshe, what happened?" He responded, he said, "God did it." I didn't know what to say when he told me that. So I turned around, I walked back outside to the living room, and I said, "Interesting, Linda, you won't believe what he told me." Linda said, "What?" I said, "He told me God did it." And then Linda started to laugh. She says, "Oh," he says, "when I heard the bed crash, I ran into his room and I started screaming, 'God, what have you done now?'" Okay, well, I remember that was a very funny joke, so it was good. Again, I want to just tell you guys, when you go to a doctor, check him out. If he has bad reviews, I don't care if his insurance is for free, always bring a witness with you. Bring a fellow family member to watch what's going on. What happened to this guy was terrible. I saw pictures of him. His neck was injured. His arms.
That's why I'm glad, you talked about that, just going back to, I'm glad, though, that I did my work, because the original dentist, just so you know, you talked about the reviews, the original dentist I had booked was a 1.7 rated on Google. And the one I went to today was a 4.1. So yeah, you got to do due diligence.
You got to check your ratings. Right, you got to check.
You just never know out there. People, it's a serious thing.
You got to check your ratings. You got to check your doctors. You got to check it. Of course, you got to have a relationship with them. But this guy. I mean, I saw the guy sent me pictures of his head, his arms, marks. Now the guy says the guy was violent, so you had to hold him down. But then he wouldn't even tell me the story afterwards. But everybody's talking about it. I'm telling you, this Dr. Johnson, I tried to tell him, I said, listen, Doc, everybody makes a mistake. You might have lost it. The guy did some things in your office. Maybe you overdosed him. Maybe you didn't. You don't want to take responsibility. Just apologize. That's what we do today, with the leftists. Just apologize and it'll go away, but he won't do it. He's just a dumbbell, this Johnson guy. So at least that's my opinion. And I hope he gets in trouble, but I'm going to make sure that I'm going to help.
And that's why, you know what? We have so many people here in the chat, Heshy. That's why everybody needs to go to HeshyTishler.com, justenoughheshy@gmail.com. Stop by the office anytime, 5308 16th Avenue.
No, 5318.
Stop
53.
by and help us out.
Tom.
The campaign's about to start here right after Labor Day. So
that's right.
We are getting ready. And if you like Heshy fighting your dentist, let's get him to be our city council member fighting for all of us.
And I asked this young man, I said, why'd you call me? He says, Eichenstein said he can't do nothing about it. Felder doesn't pick up the phone. So Heshy, you're the only one. So I did give it. And you know what time he called me? Midnight. Because he collapsed and they took him home after an hour and he woke up in the middle of the night. Who do you think's phone is always on? Heshy. And you're right. I do take care of calls.
Right.
I asked him, I said, is it really an emergency? He said he's not feeling well. He even said today he's not feeling well. And I understand the doctors sometimes make mistakes, or he gave too much drug. I'm not sure what he did, but I asked the doctor for his side. He says HIPAA laws. I said, there's no HIPAA laws. Your client is telling you to tell me your side of the story. That's why I'm calling you. And the client is right there. He's telling you to cooperate. But even if so, I don't even want to know about his drug or his medical issue. I just want to know when he flipped out, what happened? Did you hit him? Did you hold him down? Why did you do that? What was your reasoning to control a sick person? Call into the show, 646-974-1580. And I want to just introduce one more thing, Green Line Building Solutions. That's my company.
202 Foster Avenue. Yep, right off McDonald Avenue. Heshy's favorite place. Go give him a call. Stop by.
718-871-0382, 718-871-0382. I do plans, permits, violations, vacate orders, stop work orders, and I had a whole bunch of them this week. But now, can I tell you a funny story, Tom? So I was in this guy.
You can tell me. Yes, you can.
So there's a landlord in the Bronx for like 219. So like 5-6 years, he has a vacate order on 12 apartments, and there was a fire. They fixed it up. Yeah, 12 families were out on the street, and they're trying to illegally occupied. So I told him, he came to me, he went to a few other people, and I said, I'm going to help you. And I went through the building, I did a pre-inspection, I made sure everything was good, and I made appointments, I filed all the proper paperwork with the Bronx inspection unit. And I set it all up, and the inspectors came and they were very good. There was a little issue here, a little issue there, and I got it done. While I'm there, and this is a big building with 500 people in the building, and I got 12 families back into their homes. From being, paying, not living anywhere, not having proper rents, could be vacated on the street with court orders. I got them back in. The landlord was happy. In comes an elevator DOB, a Department of Buildings inspector. Okay.
Yep.
And I started talking to him. I said, well, it's not really my department here today. I'm part of the management team, but, I have nothing to do with it. So I thought the manager let him come in. He comes in, he goes into the elevator, and he gets a ride up. He comes down, and he comes down, he gives a violation. I said, why are you giving a violation? Oh, I'm shutting down the elevator. I said, why? I've been up on this elevator. It's very good. Look, they even have inspection reports in the window. He says, well, one of the light bulbs is out. I said, for one light bulb, you're shutting down an elevator for 500 people? He says, no. He says, I see that the switch is not good. I said, what switch? He says, well, when I open the elevator doors, I see one of the switches is too small. I said, but they have an elevator company all the time here. Don't shut it off for the switch. He says, yeah, it's an emergency switch that when the elevator, listen to this, gets stuck, the door should not open when it's halfway in the floors. I said, then how do people escape? He says, that's not your problem. The firemen will come and get them out. I said, that's dumb what you just said. And he stops the elevator again. He tries to show me. I said, get out of the building. He says, I'm not leaving. I said, you better leave because the 4th Amendment and the 8th Amendment says that you have to leave this building. And he says, I'm not leaving. I said, if you don't leave, you're trespassing and I'll have you arrested. So he runs out of the building. He calls his chief. And the chief calls the owner and my elevator company, because I called the elevator company to come over right away, and to fix it. It's a small little, emergency, like a switch, like a breaker, and it was nothing.
Yeah,
and forget that the guy gave a violation that should have been cured. Instead, we have to go to court and fight it. And he was there, and I threw him out of the building, and the elevator guy came. less than an hour later, and the chief says, "You better let us in," and shut off the elevator. I said, "I will not."
So you know what I think this all is?
One minute. I just wanted to. But I want
to. People need to go get you elected to the city council.
But Tom,
it's all about bureaucracy. You talk about this over and over and over. I think our listeners here in the chat, they want to hear you talk about some of the other things.
But I want to talk about.
What you're saying about the bureaucracy. It's great, but
no, Tom.
Why don't? Yeah, all right. No. Real quick.
I don't want to tell you about the bureaucracy, but I want to tell you that people with Mamdani in power, none of these units are cohesive, and the commissioners don't have control, and everybody does what they want. I said to the guy, "What are you doing?" He says, and this is what his answer was to me: "I can go where I want, when I want, and you can't stop me." And I took out my Constitution. I made a video, and he was on the video, and I said to him, "You can't come in. Here's the Constitution." He says, "I can do what I want." I says, "Oh no." I said, "I'm going to block the door and you can't come back in here." He then went and called the police. I said, "You have the police come. You don't have a warrant. Even if you have a warrant, I'm not letting you in the building because you don't have a legal warrant signed by a judge, and I don't care what your unit says. We'll come every day." I said, "And every day you won't get in, just like my other buildings." So after a while, the elevator guy came, and I started to be nice to I didn't post the video that I made with the inspector because I became friendly with him. He was from Ukraine,
right?
And he lives over here in Brooklyn with us. And he started to tell me about himself a little bit. So I understand he's a human being, but the building department tells him to straight out go after us, and he had no choice to shut off the building. This way, he's able to give a frivolous violation, which I'm going to win. Don't worry about it because I have him on video.
So I think these are things. So I will bet to say that these are things that you think with Mayor Mamdani that we'll see even more coming up. Right?
Yeah,
in a few months if Mamdani's mayor.
Under Mayor Mamdani, I had a couple of other people that are in my business and came over to me. "Heshy, aren't you happy Mamdani's going to win?" I said, "Are you crazy?" He says, "Under Mamdani, he's going to punish everybody. He's going to punish the people with buildings. He's going to get more violations. The inspectors are going to run wild. It's going to be great. You're going to be super rich." I said, "That's not why I'm in the business. I'm in the business to make money, but I'm in the business to help people. I'm not in the business to feed people for free because it's free. The people that are struggling, those are the people that need to get my little extra packages, but they still have to go out to work every day. They still have to do people that..."
Well, I'll tell you who Mamdani's not going to punish, Heshy, those who commit misdemeanors, because apparently he wants to do away with misdemeanor crimes. What did you think about that proposal?
Yeah, I said that before in the beginning of the show. Anybody, and even Hochul, she's, "Oh, look, crime is down." Hochul is a liar. The crime is not down.
And Hochul doesn't want the national. Did you see that Hochul doesn't want the National Guard?
Of course,
Trump wants to bring the National Guard to New York City and Tish and Hochul.
Right,
they
even
say
Tish,
no,
right.
They don't want it.
It's stupid. We need them. It's not like we just want them to help the police. Deter crime. You have gang members. There was a 3 gang members beat up somebody in Brooklyn and robbed them and just beat them up and slashed them. We had 8 more shootings in the city of New York. Not shootings are down, Mr. Adams. Shootings is up. Crime is up. I don't know where this falling crime rate is there. But in Washington, D.C., there's no murders.
You know how crime is up with Mayor Adams, right? Because last week, did you hear about what happened with Ingrid Martin, Winnie Greco, and how about that guy Landau?
Right. So again, these guys are taking bribes, and if God forbid we bribe somebody or even joke about a sandwich, we go to jail. Now these guys were arrested. I mean, you're talking they were able to move the building department along. So if you're able to, Ingrid and Mayor, the mayor today apologized or yesterday for all the corruption that's going on in his administration. But as you can see, that if you have
4 years too late,
right? But if you have the power, you could move along quicker. The mayor has a deputy mayor called Menashe Shapiro. This man is a pig. I have our proof that he went to a Bubba organization and told them that if you don't vote for Simcha Felder or Carmen Yeager, I'm going to send the DOB and the DEP and the sanitation departments after you and the Department of Health. This is how we do business in New York. We're threatening and fighting and getting away with power. So everybody says, what could you do, Heshy? I am going to stop them. I know I'm a lowly councilman, but with councilman powers, I do have a chance to filibuster. I do have a chance to make friends with other things. As you can see in the Iowa Senate, today one of the senators were flipped, and there's no more majority, but not having
a Democrat had won a seat that Trump had carried by more than 10 points. and it broke the supermajority that the Republicans held
which
in the Iowa
means-
State Senators. So, like, see,
But
so
that's
you,
beautiful.
Heshy, in the city council can do the same thing.
Correct. This way, they won't be able to pass laws without just because they have a supermajority. We'd be able to fight them. We'd be able to filibuster them, just like the Senate and the Congress. And that's what I want to do. I want to get in there. I know you Republicans will come out in force. I know Mamdani is not going to win, and I know if he, God forbid, does win, get me in there. And if Sliwa gets in there and he doesn't act normal, I'm going to be able to at least control him. And if Mayor Adams gets back in there, oh God, lame duck mayor doing whatever he wants to do. It's not going to be good, but we're going to keep trying anyways. I want to ask you.
But you know what though? You could say that, but let's say somehow miraculously Adams wins. Trump is a lame duck. What's the difference between Adams as a lame duck and versus Trump as a lame duck?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because as a lame duck, first of all, they have the midterm elections for president, so they need him to accomplish stuff. So he's not really lame duck till the last 2 years, and if he has a majority, he's not lame duck because he can approve a lot of the bills that the Senate and the Congress come through. In Mayor Adams's case, he's going to do whatever he wants to do because he's the mayor. But if he doesn't have a majority of Democrats that pass all his stuff, you're right, he can veto us, but we won't pass his budget. We'll make him suffer. He won't have a future ever anywhere in politics. But again, you're right. It's very.
Well, I don't know if he has a future in politics other than maybe being a Fox News pundit after this election anyway.
I know that. I know, but I liked Adams, but I think he's done. He's not going to get his job done. I'm hoping Sliwa will listen to us because I know he doesn't know how to do the job, but at least he listens to us. But I want to tell you something. You see, just for your knowledge, everybody, just in case you like Mamdani or you think, well, maybe the socialist stuff might work. You know what Mamdani did this week? He sent thousands of people on a scavenger hunt. Did you see that? Running all over, running wild.
I saw it on Union Square. Yep, I was right over there the next day. Yep,
running wild all over New York City like animals. He can't do that. That's illegal. Okay, but we're letting him get.
That's going to be the kind of mayor he'll be.
Yeah. But can I tell you something funny? When we laughed when Trump got his conviction of 500 or whatever, 300 something million, and then with the interest,
510 million. I think
now
it
it's
was.
515 with the interest. It got overturned. Eighth Amendment. That's the same amendment you could use in New York City, which I'm going to start doing in court. That the penalties are too harsh for the crime that we've committed. You know, just because, just because we built something without a permit that took 17 hours and it wasn't hazardous, just because you said it's hazardous, I believe that crime is too harsh and we have a right to dismiss it on the Eighth Amendment. Now, I know these stupid administrative judges are not going to listen to this, but they should. And when I become councilman, that's one of the first pieces of legislation that we will be able to use the Eighth Amendment in all of our arguments. We will be able to state, just like Adams lets us do illegal spaces in the basement now, in the cellar, that we weren't allowed to build apartments. Hey, if you're able to break the law one way, let us change the laws in other ways. It doesn't work one way. You know, in the city, let me show you how desperate the city is. They went and took away 70 parking spots and made them paid spots. Now, I don't understand you. Just because you want more money, so we see that you're not making money. We see that you don't want to bring people back.
It's always been about the money with the city, though, Heshy. You know that.
But we
everybody
could make money.
Chat, everybody listening to this right now on the radio knows that.
Yeah, but Tom, we could make money, bring in tourists, bring in attractions, make the city cleaner, make the city safe. Our stores will do better. Make sure that you lower the taxes so we can afford having our tenants with lower rents.
Well, Mr. Mamdani wants to raise the taxes.
I know that.
He wants to raise them with all the people that pay the most in taxes.
I know.
You see that?
And he says the rich won't go. Don't worry about it. They're scared. But I'm just telling you that the rich are going to leave it. They're going to sell their buildings maybe a little cheaper, or we're going to get a good deal, and then we're going to get screwed, the regular people. But I'm telling you that my city is ready to rock and roll. I'm not leaving the city. A lot of people telling me they're leaving, like, you know, all these famous stars that went to England when Trump got elected and all that. People telling me, what are you going to do, Heshy? You're leaving? I said, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'd like to retire to a good city, which is New York City, but it looks like we're in
But
trouble.
Cuomo will be retiring, right? Because he'll be going to Florida. Because remember, he famously said that, Mr. Cuomo.
Right, Cuomo is still trying to go to court to try to restore his reputation, but the judge said, "No, you're a pig, and you can't restore your reputation." But I want to go a little bit on foreign politics. I don't know if
Let's
this
talk
is
about
true. I don't know if this is true, Tom. But Iran, there are uprisings going on in Iran. There are uprisings in Iran, Tom, and the government is cracking down. They're hiding it on. They're shutting down their internet, and I'm hoping that those people in Iran really fight back once and for all. Let's get rid of those idiots. I don't know.
I hear the UN supposed to be going and inspecting the Iran nuclear facility for the
please.
first time since
Yeah,
the Iran
yeah, sure.
war started. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I believe nothing over there. That UN is full of crap. And I'm just telling you, just like Gaza, the whole world is screaming that Gaza is. Let me tell you something, Tom. If somebody killed my family, I wouldn't just go back and kill them. I'd go after them. I'd go after their town. I'd go crazy. Especially if I knew it was a whole bunch of people.
Reminds me of the picture you had a couple of years ago when you went to Israel. 2 years ago, you went there with the soldiers.
That's right, hanging out with the soldiers. And those soldiers, a lot of them lost people. I mean, again, I don't have to remind you that the people that were killed on October the 7th were the leftist Israelis whose kibbutzes, who helped the Gazans, who took them to the hospitals, who hired them, who helped them, and they killed their own friends. That's the problem. That's what they did wrong.
And while I want to give a plug, Heshy, while we're here, I want to give a plug to our friend Anthony Faker, who's watching us on YouTube. DPH Property Maintenance. Give him a call, 347-228-2625. Check him out. Over 10 years, commitment, excellence. DPH Property Maintenance. I'm sure the producer will put the video up here for YouTube for our listeners. And those watching us on YouTube,
I know a lot of
DPH Property Maintenance, 347-228-2625.
By the way,
Anthony serves our local community here. So trash pickup, you need it. Winter removal with snow, you need it. Anthony's got it. And give him a call, and longtime friend of the show. So I was the producer used to put that video up, but in the meantime, DPH Property Maintenance.
By the way, a lot of our Instagram who I have live now, I don't think they get to hear you at all. Too bad, Tom. I should have put some kind of a headset over there for them to hear you, but I'm sorry.
Maybe that's a good thing for you, Heshy, because they get to hear more of you this week. Because you couldn't shut me up.
I think Instagram went dead completely over here. The live Instagram.
Because, then that's probably even a worse problem.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna just shut it off. I'm so bad, feeling so bad, because I like Instagram, and we always have a bunch of followers on that. By the way, do you know what?
But that's why they got to come over here, HeshyTishler.com. And also, if you're on YouTube, hit the sub button. Just enough Heshy 7005.
That's right. By the way, I told you that a lot of the migrants are quietly being relocated upstate to Rockland County and the Catskills. And
you were telling me about this. Yes.
Yeah, and the blueprints is including of relocating housing illegal immigrants outside of New York City, which includes opening homeless shelters in Rockland County and the Catskills. Also, this way, ICE wouldn't be able to track them as easily since they're not in New York City. And what people are saying is, hey, if you're illegal, sign up, join up. This way, we could work with you. This way, I don't know. Once they get caught, they get in trouble. And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about the illegal immigrants, because some of them are getting truck driver's licenses without the proper reading material. They don't know.
So who's funding this? I think the question is, who's funding this?
So Donald Trump said today, President Trump said that George Soros and his son should be arrested under the RICO Act because they're the ones who are creating these violent protests. And by doing that, they are responsible and they are causing damage to this country. And I agree, both of them should be arrested, put away in jail. Yeah, these guys are just they're not real Americans. And I'm telling you now that Mr. Soros is really a capo. He hated his own Jewish brothers and sisters. He hates America. He sucks us dry, and that's who. But you know what? He's the one helping Mamdani because he wants to see America go down. I don't know, my dear friends. I know that I fight for America. I love America. People says, well, Heshy, you didn't join the army. First of all, I do help soldiers. I do love them. I do support them. I did go serve soldiers in Israel. I did.
Actually, you practically are a one-man army. After what we saw you go through all these years, I mean, you're practically a one-man army.
I keep telling that I keep fighting. I'll keep fighting to the last day. Yes, I do want to get elected. Everybody, and again, my partner says, Heshy, why? Why do you go through this? Why are you making us suffer? Just like I told you in the beginning of the quote, in the beginning of the show, the day I was born was important. But the day I found out why I was born, and I now know why I was born, was to serve mankind. To be a fan of man. I know it's a line from a crazy movie, The Devil's Advocate, when the devil said it, but I'm saying it as well. I am a fan of man. I love the country. I love its people. I love everybody here, even the illegal aliens. I just don't want them to do criminal things. I want them to be able to take care of themselves. I don't want you to stress us. We're already under a lot of money pressure. And all the people are saying, oh, Trump, they're saying Trump is going to die. Trump is sick. He's not sick yet. A little couple of blue things on his vein. He gets a doctor's opinion. They're already trying to make Trump look like that sick guy Blasey. What was the old president, Biden? But he's not.
Tippy, I was going to say the same thing, Heshy. Compared to what we just had before, Trump is as spry as a spring chicken.
Right, and they're investigating now a lot of these members of his cabinet saying you knew, and you allowed this, and I don't know how Trump is going to do, but that auto pen they called an auto pen is that some people in Biden's administration were giving out pardons and stuff, and it wasn't the president doing it, and that's a problem. That's a serious problem.
The man wasn't even awake half the time in his presidency.
And they still say
that shouldn't surprise you.
And they still say he had all his facilities in shape. He did not have his facilities in shape. And I'm telling you now that President Trump does have Ukraine and Russia in control. He says in about 2 or 3 weeks. It is a war. I mean, it should have ended right away when Trump got into power.
It's been going on for almost 4 years, and I said it last week on the show, Heshy. That's all to the fault of Barack Obama and Joe Biden because they created this mess.
They created this mess.
On the show last week, at least I did.
And you know what I heard Putin say? Putin said that if President Trump would have been president a second time in 2020, the war would have never happened. That's what he said.
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, these guys wanted war. The people who create the arms want the war so they can make more money, not billions. Today I heard Zelensky, what's his name? Zelensky, whatever, the president of Ukraine.
Yeah, I had it right the first time.
Right. So he says he needs $1 billion a week to run this war. Where's he getting this money? I hope we're not giving him $50 more billion. I mean, I can't even buy a suit anymore. I'm working hard, supporting the family, taking care of my family, trying to pay my mortgages and stuff. And we're going to give him $1 billion? Let's pay off our mortgage, our debt. Once we're paid off.
We got a $37 trillion debt we're facing in this country. We need to take that money and put it back home instead of paying for wars that endless wars. That's what it seems to me.
I know, and I'm telling you, the Gaza war is also coming to an end because Mr. Netanyahu is not putting up with no crap over there. Again, another war that's causing trouble in the world, and the Houthis think they're going to be kidnapping people, and they openly tell you, we're going to kidnap you, we're going to steal your oil, and we're not doing anything about it. Yeah, we bomb them from time to time when they bomb us. We should wipe them off the face of the earth. Israel is going to wipe Hamas out. You know that I was listening to President Clinton speak in one of his speeches, and he said like this. He said, Yasser Arafat lied to him. And he said, I'll tell you why. We gave the Palestinian all of Gaza. We gave them the West Bank, exactly what they wanted. We even gave them 4% of Israel proper, and their capital could be anywhere they wanted. And their capital was going to be in East Jerusalem. And the last minute, he backed out of the deal. Why would you do that, Mr. Arafat? What more could have you wanted? Basically, you learned that Hamas is not there to make a deal. The Palestinian people are taught, kill the Jews, just like the Minneapolis shootings. They're not saying it was a random shooting. They went after the Christians. The Muslims are going to kill everybody but themselves. Now, I love the Muslims. I have Muslims friends. I have Muslims that live by me. I have Muslims that I love.
Yes.
I'm not knocking the Muslim idea. I'm knocking the fanatical Muslims that think that you're going to take away. And you're right. People that are poor usually get very religious.
And that's been going on for decades. Have you noticed the same thing continues to go on for decades?
Right, right. And I know we have people in the Midwest and people that suffer that are prejudiced because they're going through rough times. But we're teaching them. We're trying to. We can't even help our own people, and we're helping people across the world. And they're telling us Europe is not making deals with us. Sure, you know the Democrats. You should see some of their propaganda. Europe is not making deals with us.
Yeah.
Prices are high, which are not true. Oil is super out of the thing. The economy is bad. Is he crazy, these Democrats? I mean, are they crazy? Things are getting better. The stock market has gone up. I know that under Barack Obama, it went from 7,000 or 8,000 to 21,000. Do you know where it is now? 45,000.
45. Well, we'll see what happens in the remaining future. There's some big things that I think Trump needs to figure out. And like you said, with Russia and Ukraine, this war needs to end.
I know it needs to end. It's still the first year. And I believe, Tom, that things are getting better. You're right, New York City crime is up, but I believe the real estate is better. People are making money. Our stores are making money. Our food is fresher. We have people watching for these stupid fake viruses that are popping out. The hospitals are not being watched. That's my problem. The hospitals like this.
You talked about this many times,
but
they're not.
They're not being watched. Like this dentist, he has so many bad reviews and complaints, and nobody has done anything about it. We have inspectors walking around that we've complained about to the internal affairs. I've complained many complaints, and they do nothing. They allow these inspectors to go out and tell us, listen to me very careful, we could do and go where we want. So let me again to explain to you, all you citizens out there, very simple. Take out your Constitution. Go buy one for $1 or $2 or $5.
Which is why you need to, if you're in this chat or watching or listening to wherever you are, go to HeshyTischler.com. HeshyTischler.com, where you can go sign up, volunteer, help out the campaign. You can also go and email us at justinusHeshy@gmail.com. Or stop by the office here anytime. We're 5308 16th Avenue, right in the corner of
You keep making a mistake,
Street.
Tom.
And I got a good question for you.
Tom, you keep making a mistake. It's 5318, not 5308.
They'll figure it out, Heshy. They'll figure it out.
Right. Well, there's a big sign.
I got a question for you from the chat, Heshy. Our boy Anthony Finkel wants to say, Heshy, do you believe in crypto, and do you think that Trump is going to be the crypto president?
Number one, before we get to that answer, there's a big sign in front of my building with a big picture of me. So even if you go to 5308, you can see where I am, 5318 16th Avenue. I do believe...
Don't say it. That's the dental work today. I'll remember it next week.
I don't believe in crypto to be the currency of the future. That means you walk into a store and you pay with a crypto nickel or a crypto dollar or whatever, a crypto coin. I don't think that I want to do business with crypto. I think crypto is a good investment, that if you're going to buy something big, yeah, you could use crypto as a changing of hands, you know, like instead of bringing money or getting certified checks, you go put the crypto, you buy crypto, and then you transfer it to the other guy's account and you get the transfer back to you. It is an easier way to do business. Big business. But for us little guys to go into the stores, no, I don't believe crypto should be there, because if you come into my store today and you buy yourself a bag of potato chips for 99 cents, and then the crypto dollar goes down, and I have to restock my stuff, so your 99 cents you paid me is only 80 cents now, I'm not going to make a profit. So I don't believe that crypto should be the currency of the people. I believe crypto should be like a stock to be traded, like Tesla. You can't buy a house with a bunch of stock of Tesla, even though you really could, but most people write a check, they go to the bank, they cash their stuff. So cryptocurrency, no, I don't believe should be used as a currency. I believe it's a tradable item that if you want to trade with other people and make money, but I don't think crypto is I don't like it for the future personally. I did buy a Bitcoin. I traded it. I made a few dollars, and I made a mistake. It went up to $100-something thousand. But again, I'm one of the little guys. I can't stay for the long term. I buy something, I sell it, I make a profit, and I use the profit to live on. I went to buy a bunch of suits with the kids a couple of weeks ago. And we picked it up, and I sent my friend in there, and I went in there, and again, the suits were very nice, but they weren't tailored correctly. There was a few mistakes with the length, and mistakes with the weight, and my son went in there by himself, and they said, "Oh, you have to pay again." And when I went in there, I called the guy up and said, "Hey, you made a mistake. You have a service to do. I don't have this money to keep paying you extra, so on and so forth." And he said, "Well, it's only $75." I said, "Maybe $75 to you is nothing, but it's not nothing to me." And he didn't give me an argument. He took my suits. He fixed it for free. He fixed my son's. He gave me back my $75. He didn't give me really a hard time. He tried to explain it. And then I sent my friend in there, and he treated my friend even super duper nice. So this morning I passed by with a nice bottle of wine, not a cheap one, to the hat box, and I dropped it off. He says, "Why are you bringing it to me?" I said, "Because I appreciate people that understand the situation, not like this dentist at 1777 Ocean Parkway." And yes, I'm going to keep hopping on it on the show. A man who makes a mistake should apologize. A man who screws up, and a doctor has to be very, very considerate.
Well, when you become a lawyer, Heshy, you'll be representing your individual court that came up with this.
That's right. That's right. By the way, I was supposed to do my essay a couple of times, but I found a nice quiet place now. We're going to be doing my essay at Friday at 4 o'clock, right before Labor Day, so I could get my final essay, LSTAT scores, and start law school. And I'm telling you now that I understand the laws. You have to understand the laws. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand the laws. I know you need a lawyer.
Get that Constitution, though. Make sure you carry that Constitution on you.
It's so important, the local Constitution. Even the local, New York State has a different Constitution. Look at it. You don't have to know it by heart. Glance through the main stuff. Remember, when I have people who come work for me, I tell them, "Listen, you're not going to know how to run a whole operation, but pay attention to the big words, the work without permits, the occupancy contract."
You know what I want to see, Heshy? You know what I want to see? Because I got Anthony Finkel here. He loved your point about crypto. He is doing food reviews, Anthony Finkel. I would love to see Anthony Finkel review Essence Deli with you in the video. That would get all of our listeners, all of our viewers fired up and want to go help Heshy Tischler and see the man in action. That's what I would like to see you do something different. A man of the street, Heshy, with our friend Anthony Finkel on Instagram, Finkel Family, and he's reviewing food. He's all over the place. And I hear from a birdie that he's going to be going to Essence Deli soon to go try out the roast beef or the corned beef. And from what I heard, Anthony Finkel wants Heshy Tischler to be in his video, maybe sometime next week.
Well, if he pays, I'm going. But I want you to know, anybody who comes to work on my campaign, because our campaign is starting up after Labor Day, and the last week of the campaign, I'm going to need voice. I'm going to need people on the telephones. I'm going to need people handing out pamphlets. And if you come work for me every day, I'm going to buy you food from Essen Deli. But so come on in here and you'll actually be able to. But I love Essen Deli.
You should try that with our new campaign manager. Maybe you should ask him, instead of working for the campaign for a stipend, we can then maybe get him paid with Essence Deli.
I don't think so.
Would be really good for that.
I had Alan Dershowitz helped us on a campaign getting a guy out of jail. And all Alan wanted was, forget that he wanted a lot of money. He wanted every week gefilte fish from Borough Park. That's what he wanted. And he wanted it from a particular place called Schwartz's a fish store. So we brought him every week. We took it to him to Long Island, and he was happy. And it made him happy. But no, he wouldn't give us a discount on his fees. Don't worry about it. Alan Dershowitz.
But I do, while we have a chance, I want to say goodbye to our listeners this week. WJPR 1640 AM in beautiful Miami. WNEW 1027 FM, the legendary rock and roll radio station. Of course, our flagship, WSNR 620, as they're about to leave here in about 60 or so seconds. Thank you, everybody here, for tuning into this week's Just Enough Heshy Show with Heshy and Tom. I'll be back in the studio next week, and Heshy will be back with plenty of hard-hitting analysis on things he wants to vent about.
Tom,
thank you so much for tuning in this
Tom, week. Next week when you come back, are you going to have the new teeth implanted already or not yet?
The tooth is already implanted. I have a stitch in my mouth. The stitch
So your
is gonna
smile,
be in the mouth for like a month.
so your smile is back to normal.
My smile will be back to normal by next week. I'll be making sure to laugh twice as hard as I normally do with your jokes.
Tom, you know you're not supposed to lie. You know, I barely get you to laugh a little bit. You know, you better be. You know, I hope you.
Well,
laugh
now
though.
you wouldn't listen. If I was there this week, you wouldn't have got any laughter at all. At least now,
No.
next week you'll get 2 for 1.
I believe you laughed at my joke today because they gave you a lot of medication to take home.
did.
Okay.
That might be, or might not be true. I don't know if we're under.
But as we get to the end of the show, I want you guys to listen. It is your duty. It's Labor Day is coming. The holidays coming. Mamdani is not going to win. I know what you're saying, Tom. Don't let him win. No matter what it is, if some of you are not registered or you have a friend, you know, I speak to a lot of people and they're not registered. I said, why are you complaining to me if you're not registered? Why are you asking me who's going to win? Oh, Mamdani's going to win anyways. He's not going to win. Go out and register. Go out and vote. Go out and volunteer. Don't tell me you want to, you will. By saying you want to and will is not doing it. I show you how I do it every day. I show you how to go out there. There's so many little things that we could do to make this city better, but we all want the big fix in one shot. That never happens. You know, my partner says, now we're so big. Oh, Heshy, I don't want to take on any little business or little violations. I said, no, I made it by helping the little people. I made it by doing all the little jobs. I'm never going to give up my little operation of doing small violations or certificates of correction or giving free advice.
Because you were a man of the people. That's why. You were a man of the people.
I like the big bucks, but the little bucks are good. By the way, everybody, it's too late to tell you now, but I think Powerball or what was it? Mega or something is like a
Mega Millions? Yeah, Mega Millions.
It's tonight, $1 billion. I did buy a ticket. I usually don't, Tom. I'm embarrassed to tell you I did buy. I know I have no chance.
So if you buy this and you win, you know you could set up a super PAC to stop Mamdani in addition to running for city council.
There's
There's
a lot of super PACs out there. No, I bought it so it contributes to the fund. My one, I think it's $2 now, and it helps grow the fund that somebody when I hope somebody wins this week, and if not, I'll buy again. And you never know what happens, but you know what? Maybe you win a little piece of it. You know, you can also win not the whole pile, but if you get a bunch of numbers, you can win like a few thousand or a few 100,000. You know,
yeah, it all adds up. You never know.
When I went to Canada, I stopped off at a store on the way back. And we got to use the bathroom and some stuff, and this young girl was so nice over there. She showed us where to get some of the kosher products because this was like a store in the middle of nowhere, and she wasn't Jewish, and she showed us very nice. And I saw her. She bought like 3 lotto tickets, and when I was getting my change back, there was $1 left for these scratch-off tickets. And I said to her, "You have a choice. I'd like to give you a tip, but $1. I know you'll be embarrassed, but that's all I have left." I said to her, "I have a credit card, but they don't let you buy these tickets on credit card. Can I buy you a ticket?" She says, "Yeah." And I bought her one of these scratch-off tickets, and she won like $3. It wasn't much, but she had a good time. She loved to scratch it off, and she was, you know, very nice. I know I should have given her the $1. It's better to give somebody $1, but I'm so happy that she won the $3. And she looked at me, she says, "You know, we won." I says, "You won. I'm so happy for you." And I never actually ever win when I buy lotto. I think maybe I've won once or twice. And I think it was $7, and Linda took the $7 and bought more tickets. But my dear friends, my dear people, don't be scared of the police. Quote your Constitution if they do something illegal. They've been pulling people over, and instead of fighting crime, I'm getting angry with our local police. I'm getting angry, not that they didn't endorse me.
And that's why we need you in the city council, and that's why we need change, and that's why Adams has got to go, Cuomo's got to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Wheeler the choice, but we need change, and we need Heshy Tischler, and we need real substantial change.
You know what, Tom? I'm hoping that new guy who joined the campaign, which he has no chance, the Cuban guy who hates
Joseph Hernandez. That's my guy, Joseph Hernandez. I would love to see Joseph Hernandez.
Oh, if he becomes mayor,
language, but like you said, he might have been too late.
If he becomes mayor, then we know we have like a Trump running the city. We have a normal guy that will run the city, identical guy like Trump. He would be the perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, I am the Republican nominee, and I've been trying to reach out
Yes,
to
you are.
I've been trying to reach out to the Republican, our Republican hierarchy, and still they haven't endorsed me. Still they haven't come out. Oh, Heshy's crazy. Oh, Heshy's this. But when they need me, like Sunday when they came to my office with one of their people, Janine, what's her name? Who's running?
Not for Frida.
Right.
Not for Frida. But as a borough president.
Well, President, I welcomed her. We gave her a place. We let her talk. I even let some of the hierarchy talk. And they called me, walk her around Borough Park. I said, yes, I will take her shopping in Borough Park. I will introduce her to the people. We'll hand out her pamphlets. But still, they haven't come back and reciprocated. This, I mean, I don't need it, but it's something like this. I don't have to help her, but I tried to help her, but they just want for themselves. Anyways, everybody, our show is coming to an
And
end.
that's why there's no hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our show's coming to the end. I want to thank you for listening to our show. Thank you for joining our show. And may God bless all of you and have a great week and a great Labor Day weekend.
Happy Labor Day weekend. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week.
Play that music. Play that music.